Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Metaverse Spotlight. I'm your host, Crafter, and today I'm joined by Ice Age, Bruno from the Pickaxe Master, and we are going to be chatting about all things Pickaxe Master and what they got going on inside of the Metaverse. What up, Bruno? How you doing?
Hey, Crafter. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Heck yeah.
Everyone in the chat,
Yeah, what up, chat? I see, who do we got all here? We got Toch, escape room artist, play games for fun. Maybe that's it for right now. But
almost same thing.
GM, everybody, welcome in. Thank you again for being here. And if you're tuning in live, make sure you drop a what's up, a hi, a GM, whatever you want to say. Let us know you're tuned in and listening. And if you have questions along the way, feel free to drop those in the chat as well. I'll flag them and make sure that we circle back to them if there's any good ones. Um, please feel free to ask questions along the way. Roxy, buenos dias. Welcome in, Roxy. But yeah, this is, I have no idea the number, to be honest. I would guess 4 or 5, maybe. Is that an overestimation of how many times, how many episodes I've had you on one of my podcasts? I'd feel like we're probably right around there. But awesome to have you on again. You guys always are cooking up new stuff, so it makes sense to have you guys keep coming on over and over again and giving us the lowdown on what is going on inside of the Pickaxe Master ecosystem. And the now is no different than than the past. You got a lot of stuff going on, especially with the Builders Challenge 2 inside of the sandbox that's happening right now. Do you want to just quickly? I know a lot of people that are tuning in for sure know who you are and what the Pickaxe Master is all about. But if you want to give us like your quick 1 minute elevator pitch of what Pickaxe Master is for those that are new, and then we'll just dive on into the conversation from there.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, I don't recall how many episodes because you have different programs, but I think, yeah, it should be around the fifth, sixth. I don't know.
Yeah.
But my name is Bruno. I'm the founder of the Pickaxe Master. The Pickaxe Master originally started as a board game that I have right here behind me. So it started as this, then it evolved into the Metaverse edition. And what we're trying to do is a transmedia sort of IP that relies on physical, digital, and Web3. So we started as a board game, we went to the Web3, and now we're going to make also the digital. And yeah, our goal is to make this as a decentralized company, an IP as well, where the community not only plays the game, it's a play to earn, but also owns, it's a play to own. It kind of wraps it up as we have players also being shareholders in the company. So I think it makes a really good balance between what we're going to reward and what it's going to be supposedly for profits as a company, because they will be earning from both sides. So I think having that balance will really make a equilibrium in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So in a nutshell, that's the Pickaxe Master, or at least where we're adding towards to.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And for those of you, like I said, and Bruno said as well, we've had multiple discussions around the Pickaxe Master. So if you find yourself being intrigued with what we're talking about today on the show, feel free to go back and scroll through my YouTube and find other episodes that have Pickaxe Master on it, and you'll find all kinds of different information and kind of be able to see their journey and how they've grown from a very small, like, I mean, you're still a startup, but a very, very small team of maybe just you. Whenever I found you, I don't know who else was working with you when I originally found you. I think you had found some other people inside the Sandbox Discord, if I'm remembering correctly, your story, your come up to start working on the project, and then from
It's
there,
been like that always.
It just
We're
keeps
still a
on
small
growing.
team.
For sure.
We keep being a small team. In the number, size number, we're still the same as we were 3 years ago.
Heck yeah. And you guys just keep on delivering and updating and making new changes, and I love to see it. I love to see you guys kind of pivoting to kind of, I don't know if cater is the right word, but just building in the direction that it feels like the community wants to see things go. So you guys are very much a community focused and driven project, and I love that about everything that you guys are doing. Um,
It's
So
important. We take the feedback very seriously, and I think that especially when you're doing a craft, you're doing something for, and I'll put it here generically for an audience. It could be either music, it could be a painting, it could be a game. It doesn't matter, and you have to rely on that feedback because you want others to enjoy and consume what you're producing. So if you have to align yourself with what they want and what you want to produce. So there's like a middle you want to meet up where devs are happy and players are happy. So I think that feedback is one thing that we take very seriously. We provide channels to get that feedback, and the way that we iterate on things is taking that in consideration. We deploy or implement something, we get some tests, some feedback based on it. We try something else or improved version of it. Then we get the iteration again. We see what worked, what didn't work, and we kind of go from there. It's just an evolving thing until I don't think we'll be like that. Oh, the game is perfect, it's done, we're never going to touch it. I think that any game, even think of the most traditional games, they're always evolving and trying to come up with new stuff. So I think it's just a base formula for the long run on how to keep the game fresh, on how to keep the game updated, and always in a way that keep bringing new content as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. Like I was just thinking of your comment about most games continue to um, develop and change as they continue to grow, and even the staples, Fortnite, League of Legends, those that
Yeah.
they're always balancing and tweaking and changing, and Fortnite more so than just the two that I named. Fortnite is very much so like also like introducing new things constantly to the game modes and different weapons and all that crazy stuff. So like and that's all I would imagine based off of user feedback, at least in a sense, and it's more so evident in smaller projects like yourself, and having those feedback loops, I think, is super important to help continue to grow. Like I said earlier, in the direction that the users and players really want to see everything go. And
Yeah,
you
it
guys,
does help out, especially so we're a resource management game that is heavily based on RNG. So it does the way that we do, and we know our players like the genre. So if there's someone that comes from a shooting genre and they're like, yeah, I know what we're missing. We're missing shotguns. And we're like, that's a feedback, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a good feedback for what we're trying to build. So I think it comes down to those type of players that they're also used to play other resource management games and be like, yeah, this is one of the things I actually enjoy. And okay, let's try to implement that in the game as well and keep pivoting on that based
yeah,
on that response.
yeah, for sure. And resource management is a genre that I never really dabbled in all too much, but every time I get into the Misty Mountain, I really have a blast just trying to figure out. I have yet to crack the code. Tach is trying to coach me up, but I have yet to really figure out how to mine effectively and do the numbers that I see other people doing. But resource management is newer to me, so maybe that's part of it, but I really do enjoy it. And one thing that I'm excited for specifically, there's plenty of games that I'm excited to see this happen for, but one thing that I can really see um, being a huge benefit for you guys is whenever mobile comes, because I can totally see myself sitting on the toilet and pulling out my phone and playing a quick little round of mining and then tossing my phone back in my pocket and going on my merry way. Like I could just like having that easy access,
Yep.
and it's
That was
coming.
actually our plan. That
Yeah,
the
yeah.
moment you described going to the toilet, that those 5 minutes you there, that's actually like this is what we gotta capture. Like that's our moments. The time you go to the bathroom, you take 5 minutes,
Yep.
and what we originally thought out was like to have in-game transactions, which is a reality. I don't know if it's even coming true, but the what we thought is okay. You load in, you spend, let's say, 1 cent, you get yourself 2,000 pickaxe health, you mine some resources, you trade those resources back for sand, and 5 minutes have gone, I'm done, move on, and then I'll play next time. So it's supposed to be actually a hyper casual game, the way that we've designed, in a way that since you're not specifically competing right in the moment, you're just, okay, I spent 1 sand, maybe I got 2 sand, maybe I only won alpha sand. It's RNG, so you never know. And based on that, you can just have small sessions as short as 2 minutes, as 5 minutes. But at the same time, it does not penalize or to have a longer session as well. For example, you play for 1 hour. And that was a really nice balance that we wanted to have. And I think we will be able to have in the future, maybe when we get all of these features unlocked. So the original plan, so that was our goal. And we had to pivot because that is not a possibility to all of these other stuff we're doing. But we're still hoping and sticking to our original plan. I think that's going to be the most fun game mode ever.
I agree. I think that it just feels like you said, like the hyper casual is the play, especially for the type of game that you guys are developing. Just so people that are tuning in know, I dropped the secret word in the chat. It is squat mining, because I was trying to figure out a creative way to combine the conversation, and that's where my head went. So secret word is in the chat. For those of you that don't know, if you tune in live or catch the replay, I've kind of mixed things up a little bit. If you catch the replay, you can also do this as well inside of our Discord. But if you're catching it live, you can use the command !form to get our proof of attendance form, fill that out, earn crafter coins, earn all kinds of different stuff. I'm not going to go too deep into it. You guys know. And if you don't know, get inside our Discord. I'll explain it for you more. But use that secret word when you're filling it out so we know that you tuned in and watched the show. Thank you guys so much for being here. I see all your guys' comments coming in. Try not to get too distracted by them, but you guys are awesome. Keep them coming. Now I got distracted by talking about that. So hyper casual. Okay, so this was a question that popped in my mind with the game, the game inside of the sandbox. How different is that than the board game? Like, because the board game was kind of the start of everything. Like, is it similar, or did it like kind of, or is it like a completely different like experience as far as gaming?
Let's call it an expansion.
Okay.
Let's call it an extension as well. So it's different. It's different because on the board game, it's a very simple board game. You learn it like in 5 minutes. But you start with a couple of resources, which are 5 pickaxes as a token. You have an entrance, and you actually have to mine yourself into the map. So you get random pieces, like you get a straight piece, you get like a tunnel intersection, like an X cross, you get like a T piece, or just a corner, and you start to build your way from there. So you have oxygen, which is some sort of relying on how things work. So you know that the deeper you go inside Earth, the less oxygen exists there. So you have those 2 resources, which is the pickaxe that you spend and also the oxygen that you spend. And in return, you get, for example, either whatever the prize it is on the card, which is a silver. Actually, there's only 3 resources there: silver, gold, and diamonds. So you get one of those. You can buy back pickaxes with those resources. And if you open a gallery, which is some sort of creating connecting at least minimum 4 pieces to make a gallery, so like these 4 connected, it's a way to express that, okay, so if you have all these gallery open, so there's air circulating there. So there's more air to be breathed, and you get the air tokens back. And eventually it just goes, everyone starts in the opposite corner of the map, and eventually as the game progresses, you will meet everyone in the center. Okay. Because the start will start to be filled up. You can actually connect your tunnels to your opponents. You can sort of make collab, like you see that person is going to win no matter what. So we might just go up and do a 2 versus 1, for example, or do a 2 versus 2. It creates that sort of synergy. But it's also very competitive as PvP, because you can also block other entrances, like you're mining and just like, nah, I'm going to block you. So it has that thing, and the person that wins is the person that can collect the most resources in the map. So there's not a particular way that we can actually replicate the game
Hmm.
inside the sandbox. Now, probably it's easier, especially with the variables and all of that. But it would be still rather hard to do so. Maybe that's a good, maybe we can try to actually do a good replicate. Thinking of it, it might be complicated. Fred will hate me for throwing this idea, probably. But I'll at least have a conversation with him to to
Yeah.
see what he thinks.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that so there's the board game, there's the
Mhm.
Misty Mountain mining inside of the sandbox, and then there's a digital version of the game coming. Digital version being basically what you just explained, but digital, or are there
Yeah.
differences there as well?
So the thing on digital, you have more freedom as well. So not only you can have just a 100% replica of the board game as it is, but we can also integrate other functionalities as Web3. So it creates the perfect link on the utility that you have from the pickaxes, from the avatars that you have on Web3, kind of have these middle ground from something that's on the physical side, which is the digital version of the board game. And I think that's really cool. For example, while you're doing all this mining, and especially if you connect tunnels, you kind of get to lose track whoever is like, is this my tunnel? Is this my reward? Is this your reward? So there's a sort of staples. There's the meeples that we put there just to keep track on what's what and who's who. So having avatars, we could pretty much on the digital version, if you own an avatar, instead of having the standard meeples, you can actually have your own figurine that you own, but playing in the board game. So while
Sure.
you're playing with others, if everyone has their own avatars, instead of putting just the standard meeple, they would see their lucky miners or their mineral monarchs in the board. And I think that creates a cool thing. Also, we can create gated leaderboards out of that as well. So we
Sure.
can host like worldwide competitions. Since it's digital, it does not rely on everyone meeting on a physical place. And yeah, I think it's really going towards that direction. Now, for the digital, also, of course, now we did the Web3 version on the sandbox, which is a metaverse. I think also the next step would be to make our own digital version of the Misty Mountain, but within our own engine that allows more customization and allows more interoperability. So the goal is to have something like as you could start on the board game, then you get to play the digital version, then you get to learn about avatars and all of this, and you can visit a simpler version that would be on the sandbox. And if you wanted the more complete version, then you could have actually to join on our own app. Or coming the other way around, you start on the sandbox and you'd be like, what? I can play this with my family as a casual
Mhm.
board game. Then I can go also towards that direction. So it kind of works. You could start on either endpoints and just cross each other at some
Right.
stage. So I think it has a lot of potential. And I like that a lot of having a transversal media of players just floating around on different play modes.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think that's super cool that you called it like transmedia, or whatever that.
That's what Seb nicknamed it. Transmedia. I
Okay.
was like, I like
I,
that name. I'm
I was
taking
gonna say,
it.
like, I feel like maybe I've heard it somewhere, but like
Yeah.
hearing it, I'm like, okay, like that makes sense what it is. And I like it. I think it does make a lot of sense, and it's a cool way to approach it. I think we'll see a lot of different projects doing that. I mean, that's basically just like leveraging your IP to go in all kinds of different directions, so you can funnel people. I mean, the way you're doing, they'll be funneling all over the
Mhm.
place. Some will be coming, some will be going, and it'll be super cool to see how that all plays out. Um, you also mentioned in your little overview of what Pickaxe Master is about the play to own, and I think that's a really cool
Mhm.
concept that you guys have going on. Is there do you have like an easy way to explain that to a newcomer of what play to own means, and like what that could mean for somebody that's considering joining the Pickaxe Master ecosystem?
Of course. So we're going to release soon a white paper based on that. So we actually hired one of the best crypto legal firms in Portugal to assist us on writing the white paper that is legal compliant. So that comes tied up with RWA. So the play to own, it kind of gets that implicit. So in that roadmap, of course, what we want to do first is a fundraise to keep developing all of this stuff, because yeah, building costs money, and it
Yep.
doesn't grow on it doesn't grow on the trees. So it's our way. It's a pre-seed sale that we want to give away 5% of the supply. That, of course, all the supply kind of represents 100% of the Pickaxe Master. Starting there, we want to build it up, and on that roadmap, it's going to lead to several different funding rounds, and there's going to be a big, vast amount of tokens that will be towards the end, where we got all of this product finished and developed, that towards the end, it will be the play to own. Sort of like you think, for example, the Sandbox, they run a pre-seed that they got to sell their token at a certain price, and then they add some private rounds, and then they add some the Binance round, and then they add the Series A and all of that. And when it come, there was also, while you're playing the Sandbox, you were also earning those sand tokens. So I think it kind of goes towards the same path, as it makes sense.
I think it does make a lot of sense, and I feel like we'll see. This is another thing that I think we'll see a lot of projects end up doing, is something similar along these lines.
It's still very early, like in terms of legal, like the possibilities of things we can do. We're realizing that we have to come up with a middle term solution. It's not like we want to put out the RWA gaming Ferrari, but we have to start with a Fiat 500.
Right.
So, or maybe like a Toyota Corolla. Like we have to start with the basic, and then we have to adapt our way and make amendments in the contracts until we get ourselves into the RWA of the Rolls Royce of RWA.
Yeah. I would imagine
we got to take those little steps.
Yeah, the legal stuff, and like a lot of legal stuff like isn't even really worked out yet. At least, I mean, I definitely don't take legal advice from me, but but like I feel like in the like everywhere is different. So like you're in Portugal, I'm in the US. I have no idea what's going on with the US and all of their legal stuff around crypto. But then like other places like Portugal seem to be way more lenient and lax on it. So like having to but crypto itself is worldwide, like a global thing. So like it's just like it gets so complicated and confusing to me of like how it can even be done, right? Like it just feels like it's like gonna be, maybe it will, it just end up being a never ending kind of battle / adjustment. As different things change, you have to adjust different things, which is going to be kind of frustrating, I would imagine, from like from your standpoint, because you're going to have to constantly have somebody that's adjusting and tweaking. You're muted.
Sorry.
I was like,
So
why can't I hear him?
If you look at Hong Kong, they're like all native, crypto native, and they've got all of these structure already to embrace it. And if you look, for example, although the US, it feels very restricted regarding crypto, for example, a DAO, it's already actually a legal type of form for a company to operate.
Legal
While in
entity.
Portugal,
yeah,
legal entity. While in Portugal, they don't contemplate the DAO as a legal constitution, as a legal entity. You need some works around it to actually set up something as a DAO. But on the other hand, like Portugal would have some things that are easier, and they would be able to pull this stuff up that maybe in the UK and the US you are not allowed, or I don't know. Every country has its own jurisdiction, so it's very important that whatever you do, you just get yourself informed and know your local legislations, regulations, so you know that you're compliant.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it really just is on the user, because that's I guess decentralization. Like that's the thing with decentralization, is that it comes back to now you are responsible for everything. Yes, you have the freedom of being it being decentralized, and it's your crypto, your keys, or whatever, or not your crypto, not your keys. I don't know what this fucking term is, but something along those lines. And it comes with, there's pros and cons to it. Like it comes with more responsibility. You can't bank on, like, for example, if you're bank account gets hacked, at least in the U.S. And it, I mean, obviously, like it can't be something that you did wrong, but even if it is something you did wrong, sometimes you're still covered. But like you're covered. But in crypto, if you get hacked or you do something that puts you in a tricky situation, like it's all on you.
Yeah,
That's
you're on
that's
your own. Yeah,
yeah. So like there's the pros and there's the cons. Um,
I
and you
think it's
just
good. People actually having to take responsibility, because with that it comes also education and information, and people that have more information and get educated on all these things, I think at the end they just come as a better prepared person overall, because they just have, and like we say here in Portugal, knowledge doesn't take place, the space.
knowledge doesn't take
Space.
space. Knowledge doesn't take space. I don't follow. Why don't I follow?
You can have, because there's always room for more knowledge.
Ah, okay, I see. It's like infinite knowledge.
Yeah,
Ah, okay,
the
I'm
space
following.
it
I'm
takes for
following. Yeah,
knowledge,
yeah.
it's infinite. Yeah, this might be like a translation error,
No, yeah,
because I
yeah.
literally, yeah.
But no, that makes sense when you break it down a little bit
Yeah.
for me. I might just be dumb. Um,
No,
but
the language barriers, this is something we just say here all the time. And
yeah, yeah. But I guess like okay, so to not get too in the weeds of of decentralization and
yeah,
crypto talk, let's bring it back to so Builders Challenge 2 is going on right now inside of the sandbox. And I know there's been a lot of people that have been playing Misty Mountain, but obviously we want to get uh, awareness on even more people so that they jump in and play. Um, what do you have to share with people that are maybe hearing about Pickaxe Master for the first time, and what would you encourage people to do to get started in playing the game, getting to know the ecosystem? I know you have a lot going on. I hear it even on my streams. I hear it every once in a while from different players that they're maybe a little intimidated or just
mhm.
don't know exactly what's going on. So then they don't even start. And what I keep telling people, and it seems to be working, is just get in there and play, and you'll figure it out as you go. That's how I've been doing it. That's how I feel like most people have been doing it. And yes, there's a lot of people that are in your community that have been in the community for a long time and understand what's going on, and it seems simple to them. But the best thing about that is that those people are also great at giving advice and communicating with new players, me specifically, while I'm streaming and walking me through different things that I can be doing. But you guys, admittedly, you do have a lot going on, and it can get confusing for a newcomer. So um,
Hmm.
what would you recommend to somebody new to the Pickaxe Master? How would you recommend that they get started and start exploring the Misty Mountain and everything that you guys have to offer?
Okay, so first thing I would say, play the game, of course. Just open our experience tab and hop on in there. We have built a tutorial, so if you don't skip those reading, I know it's a little bit, it's not that much, but I believe you would get informed at least on the basics. I remember seeing like this channel, someone, I think it was from the Korean community. Someone was playing. I could even understand what they were saying, and probably I never saw that person playing. And clearly, by the stream, it was someone that was learning, and I could see in real time what were the struggles.
Hmm.
And eventually, but just by trying, playing, reading, the person just managed to play the game without any problem. Now, I think one thing is to play the game and be able to mine, sell resources, buy pickaxe self, all of that. And the second is know how to participate in all the competitions, be part of the community. So I think those are like two different approaches and steps. One, I would tell people to go to the website, take a look. There's a lot of things there. Secondly, join our Discord. Like you said, the community has been, most of them, for a long time. They're also very, very helpful to help out anyone that needs. Like you also said, like they are very upfront to just like, hey, I'll explain it to you, I'll show it. And I've seen that happening a lot of times. So it's a really, really inviting community in that sense. Also, we have our streams that we stream now every day, just putting out questions. I believe myself or anyone will quickly answered those questions. And yeah, I guess it's just a matter of getting started. Maybe you try it one time, you'd be like, maybe I'm a little bit confused. Then the second time, you're like, okay, no, I'm what I'm doing. Third time, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna aim for the number one spot.
Right. I think that I would reiterate that right there is that like just
Yeah,
get in and keep playing and keep learning as you go. You don't need to understand it all right away when you first start. It and it may seem complicated or just like a lot. There is a lot going on. More so like there's. I think sometimes the comments that I get is that there's like a lot of leaderboards and different things for them to keep track of. And what I tell those people is don't worry, because the site literally does it all for you. Like
yeah,
it'll figure out what leaderboards to put you on. All you got to do is get on there and submit your scores
and
and let
submit
let it do the
all
rest. Like
automatic. Yeah,
yeah, don't complicate things. Although like if you really want to like break it down and dig into the nitty gritty, there are Medium articles and the
hmm,
write up like on the website if you want to dig into it all and really try to understand everything that's going on. But you don't need to do that. You can just get in and have fun and play the game. And I hope that that message comes across to new potential players, because it really is fun to and it's kind of like a journey that you get to go on as a player. You don't, and I think that's like the fun about a lot of video games is that you're not like an expert when you first start playing a game, and you develop skills and you develop your character depending on what kind of game you're playing, and you get better and better at it. um, and that's all part of the fun of playing these games. So I would recommend just getting inside and checking it out.
the learning curve. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's now that you mentioned, I think there's one thing about specifically players around the sandbox. I think they're not very keen on the learning curve that usually a game takes. Yeah, it's like I want to join and I want to know it right away,
Hmm.
everything about it, and I
I
think
wonder
it
why
needs
that
a
I
little
wonder why
bit.
that is. I
I will
don't.
say it. Alpha season 3 speedrun. Don't read anything.
Ah, yeah.
I would read through all the dialogues. I would read through all the texts, and probably so do you. If you recall, on Alpha season 1 and Alpha season 2, you would be go like, yeah, I'm gonna pay it. I remember paying attention to all the small details because I was thinking, someone made this. This is actually really cool. Someone did this in Vox Edit. Someone placed this on the Game Maker. Like people spent time building this, and Alpha season 3 was just like, don't look at anything, don't read anything, just do as fast as you can. I tried that for like 3 days, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
I'm skipping the story. I'm not watching anything to see here. I'm not having fun. So I just like, I don't care about Alpha season 3. I don't care about the rewards. I'm just gonna take my time and enjoy it.
Definitely.
So it's
And
gonna take some time until we kind of washed it up. I think it's starting to wash it up. I think players now are actually taking time. Also, we got pop-ups, we got banners, we have other ways to communicate with players as well.
mhm.
But I think we're washing up that trend of just short attention and not reading anything, and people now taking the time to digest the game.
Yeah, I think like it's tough. And I see Sebga in the chat says that I'll just pull it up, because there's a lot of experience. It's not easy to take time. And I, I get what you're saying there, Sebga, but also like you don't have to play all you don't have to play all the games. Find the games that interest you, and then spend time actually learning and getting to know that ecosystem and getting involved in those games, and not getting overwhelmed with all of the different games. Although like if that's your but then again, if that's your play style and that's what you want to be doing, and that's fun for you, is to just go and try as many games as possible, then do that. Like it really is like the opportunity is endless. Like you can do whatever you want inside of the sandbox, which is what's cool about the sandbox. Is
Hmm.
there's always going to be, as long as the sandbox continues to be successful, there's always going to be many games inside of there, and you're going to have to decide if you want to just dabble in all of them, or if you want to dive into a few of them that really hook your attention. And Probably in the beginning when you're getting introduced to the sandbox, you are gonna dabble and just kind of jump around from game to game until, but then you're gonna come across a handful. I bet. I suspect you'll come across a handful that really start to hook you in, and uh, whether it be the community or the actual game play or loop or whatever, or I don't know, tokenomics, whatever it is that gets you excited about the game. There's going to be those games in the sandbox that hook you in and get you to want to learn more. So yeah, I mean it it really is, I guess, just dependent on the player and what they're looking for and how they want to approach gaming inside of the sandbox. I personally have never played in anything until the sandbox. I'm trying to think if I'm being wrong in saying that. I don't think I have played anything really. I guess Minecraft is kind of like it. Other than Minecraft, though, that has just like hundreds of different games that you can choose from inside of the platform. Like I typically just play a game that is that game, and that's all that game is. So it is like a different beast, and it's interesting to see like how the players are reacting to it, how the studios are approaching getting new players to pay attention to their games over the other games. And it's just there's a lot that goes into it. I guess like going down that rabbit hole a little bit, this might be an interesting topic for more so studios and developers and indie developers and everything that are thinking about or are building games in the sandbox. How have you approached building a community around your game that is excited for everything that you put out and excited to play the game over and over again? Because from an outsider's perspective, I think you've done an amazing job at that, and you have a
Thank
very
you.
thriving community, and they're very supportive, and they love the Pickaxe Master and they love playing the game. And it's something that you don't see it. There's obviously, I'm not saying you're the only one,
No,
but
no, no,
you
no,
don't see it a
not at all.
ton, and it's something that catches my eye when I do see a game ecosystem that then has that supportive community, especially when it's like inside of something as niche as the sandbox. Like
Hmm.
it's cool to see that happen. But I'd be interested to hear like what do you think like led to this? Was it an iterative
Uh,
like journey, or
no,
did you
I
kind of
think
plan it out and you nailed it?
no, I just took past experiences. So, I told you this a couple of times. Half of my life, I lived in Africa, which is in Angola. And I used to do, I was already a musician back then. But there I experienced something really powerful, which is creating rock music in a country that only listens to kizomba, to Afro music. So we're like the underdogs. Like people would call us Satanists, people would call us like junkies, people would call us everything, like
Sure.
literally everything. And we would go on TV shows and be like, oh, you guys actually look normal. You talk normal. That's surprising. I was like, sure thing. So we had a community of people that would listen to rock, and they would always go to the concerts. We're like a couple of bands that would do that. We played with each other like hundreds of times because there were not that many around, and the community was rather quite small, like a niche, like you just said. So we built relationships with all of those community members that they would like support you, they would buy your album, they would go to your concert, and not only that, you would see them, you would be with them, talk with them, and actually build a relationship. So some people I've met because they went to the shows, and I just afterwards we just become buddies and like get some drinks together, have fun, and it kind of evolved like that. So it creates a really powerful sense of belonging. So I think us as human beings, we need to feel that we belong somewhere. That's how tribes kind of evolved. We are the Sand Fam. We all together are a tribe. We relate ourselves and each other's because of that as well. So bringing that, which is something that just naturally, it was not something that was like super planned and like sort of how do you call it, Machiavellic plan, something like it's just naturally like how I am personally and how the dynamics were, because how small also we were. going towards that, I think it really in, tattooed on myself like the sort of DNA of, yeah, I like this. This is how I want to be in touch with a community, with a group of people that follow whatever
Hmm.
I'm also creating. So capturing that, and also having myself a background as a CEO of a billboard company. So I was a CEO for about 8 years, and I've run hundreds, maybe thousands of campaigns for brands as big as Coca-Cola or Nike or Adidas, or I don't know. I just run so many campaigns for so many brands.
Yeah.
And I kind of got to learn also what they were doing and their strategies and all of that. So combine one, okay, one thing is the marketing side, which is communicating, being there on socials, just trying to post every day, trying to bring some content, trying to bring something that will add up, some that will add up to the audience that you want to receive. That you see the message every day, and it's literally adding one tiny bit of information every day that you, oh, now they got these contests, oh, they're making a reminder of the sand prizes, oh, here's the link for that. And just constant reminders that you're there and you're active and you're alive. Because if you don't go there shouting like, hey, this is happening, no one will notice. It's just too much information on the internet. Now coming forward, we started to build on the open. I think that as myself, it was the only way that made sense. And if you look outside the sandbox on how, for example, Steam, you see the upcoming games on Steam, right? And if you follow and join those communities, you would see that those game devs also, they share a lot of what they're building. So they want to create some expectation towards the players that are following the project, like, I want to play that,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
it's very important that you also create that expectation towards the people that are following that project. So when you deliver, it actually meet the expectations and be like, yeah, that's what we were hoping for. But that interval of time while you're building and developing and actually sharing stuff, while it's not open, while it's not done, it's a very important process as you get to build a community that follows the project based on what's being built and based on the premise of what's being built. So whenever you actually release that, you already have a handful group of players that want to play the game for what they've seen being built. Not only that, I believe it creates a bond. It creates trust between the game dev team and the players, the community. And it creates a strong bond because they know that, one, what they promised they were going to build, it's actually getting built and getting released. The feedback that they have given on how they want to improve the bug they find, it actually gets fixed, it actually gets implemented. So it creates a really strong sense of, yeah, I like these guys because I trust the team. They pull it off. Whatever they say they're going to do, they actually do it. Sometimes it might get delayed, but they do it. And whatever feedback we give, it's actually heard, it's listened, and it's implemented. Or if it's not implemented, we get an answer and the justification why it's not implemented. So I think it's one of the ultimate trust formulas that a builder can do. Or I'll put here just someone that is creating anything, like you're putting a painting, you're doing a song, you're writing a book.
Yeah.
That is very important to build a trust with your audience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We in the US anyways, you hear it said all the time, at least in like marketing circles and stuff, that know, like, trust. Like, you have to develop those three like pillars with your consumers, whatever you want to
Hmm.
participants, community, know, like, and trust. And I think that's what you just explained there really like hits all of those pillars. People got to know you by watching you build the game out in the open, and just listening to you talk as you're building and iterating, and then they become, they transition into liking you because they like you for who you are and how you show up, and then they start to trust you whenever you start to deliver on the deliverables of whatever it is you're working on. In your case, it's the game. So like it makes sense like why that works, and that is something that seems to be the magic formula, is developing that know, like, and trust inside of your community. So it's been super cool just to kind of see your guys' journey and see how it just continues to grow. Do you have like a vision, or I'm sure, yeah, I know you have a vision, but like, where do you see Pickaxe Master in the next, like, I don't know, 5 years? Like, where do you see yourself going, and what could somebody at least hope for, if they are considering becoming part of this
Mhm.
thriving community that is continuing to grow?
So one thing is, in terms of, that's a tricky question,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah,
Because there's a lot of factors that we don't solely rely on us, you know.
for
Like for
sure.
example, we have to wait on the sandbox speed to come up with features and stuff that we can actually implement. So it's kind of a, we were ready. If we I would see ourselves in 5 years. So what I see happening next, or in next 2 years, we were kind of already ready to put it already working the past 2 years. So
Yeah,
I'll try to break it down into different categories. So in terms of the sandbox, where I see it being within 5 years, I would imagine being this place that is the original game, but just fully developed into a sort of RPG. That's, you have standalone games that they just developed into different other genres. So it starts as B's main hub, which is a resource gathering, a resource game, economy game as well, and then just develops as you are able to store variables, as you are able to save all of those stats, and people just take those resources, they craft them, turn into something else that then would translate into bringing into, for example, a shooter game, and it's just a completely different genre. We're able to set up marketplace, and there's like actually a player economy, and then there's other games that would be actual board games, or it could be racing games that you actually craft some sort of vehicle. Like I would see a game, so a game that relies on the economy throughout all of these games. But it will pretty much depend on the type of advancements and features that the sandbox actually puts there. So we can just, whatever you put, we'll take it and we'll use it and we'll
yeah,
implement, we'll improve. That is one side. Now the other side is, we see the board game being one, getting a publisher, and that getting distribution deals, and
mm,
hopefully we'll be starting on Europe, but of course we can hope for it to be worldwide. I think it's a really good game. It's a fun game. It's a catchy game as well. It is very well designed, and it has all the reasons to be a successful game.
I can't wait. Just to cut you off real quick, you can go right back into it. But I can't wait
Yeah.
to sit down and grab a beer and play the board game with you
Oh
in
yeah.
real life. At some point, that's going to happen, and it's going to be super fun. Anyways,
That's gonna be awesome. The time yeah. Either way, so I can see that happening in 5 years.
yeah,
At least in the span of 5 years, that's got to be there somewhere down the road for sure.
100%.
So that's why I have to split things into different categories. So, for example, the digital board game, I would see in 5 years these being a thing that has like hosts these regional tournaments or worldwide tournaments that happen every X amount of time, and just has its own thing going with its own, I would not say segregate community, but probably its own supporters that just go like, nah, we're just board game lovers. We just love this format. Okay, I know there's other things, but we respect you. We're part of the same family, but we're just here. We're
Yeah,
just vibing here. So I can also see that happening, having some sort of branching out the community towards what they want, what they enjoy the most. Now, what I think also I see happening is, along with these developments on starting to actually build on our own engine, is just to have the game sort of a reflection of what we're already doing in the sandbox, but in a more amplified and custom way, as well as we also keep building tools for players to be able to scale out the social aspect of the game, which I
mm,
believe is very important. So I don't know where we're going to be in 5 years, but I know our motivations and I know how dedicated of a team we are, and what could be accomplished in 5 years. It's going to depend on a lot of factors, like
for sure.
literally a lot of factors. So we want to run a fundraise on very soon. and it will depend on how much we will be able to get from the fundraise. If it's a certain value, probably we can scale up the team to be this big and build things within this time frame. If we're able to raise more, then we'll be able to grow bigger and maybe shorten up the time frame or do extra things based on the first things we want to do. So there's a lot of things in consideration, honestly.
For
But yeah,
sure.
I would see
Yeah.
that in 5 years would be really cool to have TSB games super developed as a full blown ecosystem, all integrated. It would be real cool to see already the Pickaxe Master on all the bookshelves on all game stores across the world, even if it's not on the supermarkets and those like big outlets, at least being on local game shops. That would be fantastic. Having a digital version that is just running competitions worldwide and it's very easy to use either on computer or your cell phone, and then having our own game that is also on the computer, on the cell phone, and it has all of these functionalities that we talk of, just all of them implemented there.
Heck yeah. No, I mean, like you said, obviously there's a lot of factors that come into play whenever you start to project out into 5 years or so. But I could definitely see like that being a future for you guys, and I can't wait to see, even if it takes longer, or who knows, maybe it'll be shorter. Whenever you guys get there, it's gonna be awesome. Um, I have I have like one last question. Really, we're getting close to the hour mark, which I like to keep these at. But I wanted to ask you what inspired the Pickaxe Master? Like where did this all come from? Why did this all become a thing, and how did it end up like spiraling into what it has spiraled in? Like was it always was it always a plan to make it into like a video game and stuff, or like just I'm just very curious, like where did this all begin?
So these began on the COVID. So myself, I was already building board games, and the COVID struck. We got here at the family house where we got all the family together, and you know the constraints we had back then, and we have the tradition of playing several board games when we are together, and we're already together for a couple of months, and we're like, yeah, we are getting a little bit bored of the board games we have because we're not only playing every day but massively playing every day. Like so my sister, she's an illustrator, she's an artist, she paints, and was like, okay, what if we just combine our favorite mechanics from our favorite games and just try to come up with something. So we just went with a couple of games like, okay, we like this, we like that, we like that, we like that. Let's put it all in here. So with all of this, what can we do? Okay, I think we can do a mining game based on what's around in here. And that's how the Pickaxe Master started.
That's
It
super
just
cool.
it was born out of boredom.
Hey, I mean,
Between myself and my sister.
yeah, no, that's awesome. What games inspired the Pickaxe Master? Are there a few that like pop into your head when I say that, or was it
Sure, sure,
a
sure.
lot?
So one that is an all-time favorite in this family, which is Carcassonne. I'm not sure if you know about that one. It's a really famous one. Then there was a second one we were really addicted, which was Splendor, which is also a sort of resource management game as
Okay,
well. And those, I would say, are the two main inspirations for the game.
so Splendor, and what was the first one? Carcassonne.
Yeah,
Did I
Carcassonne.
did I say it right?
It's one of yeah, it's one of the most played games ever as a board
I'm
game.
I was gonna say I'm probably not the best person to be asking these questions because I'm not very deep into board games.
Mhm.
Although anytime I play board games, I know I have the personality that would love playing board games. I just don't like have the community that I
Mhm.
would play it with.
Gotta
So
get you the
like
game, the digital version for you to play.
exactly. Then I don't then
Then
I
we
will
solve
have
it.
a community because there's plenty of people that I know do want to be playing it. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm probably not the right person to be asking you actual board game questions. But anyways,
Ask
um,
away.
yeah, no, this has been awesome though, Bruno, as always. I didn't really see that many questions. I know a lot of people are vibing and enjoying the conversation in the chat. If I'm just shouting out the chat, if you guys do have any last minute questions that you want to chime in on, you have Bruno's attention, and I will gladly ask them for you. But while we're waiting to see if any of those questions come in, I want to just give you the stage, just to allow you to say whatever you want, let people know how they can find you, where they can follow you, get inside the Discord, how to play the game, whatever you want people to know. The stage is yours, and then we will start wrapping things up if we don't have any other questions.
Okay, thank you so much. First, I'd like to say you're all awesome. Probably 99% of everyone that's watching is San Fam, and I just gotta say I love you and I admire your support that you not only give to the Pickaxe Master, but also to Crafter and all the other creators in this eco space. So I just wanted to state out that you guys rock, you guys and girls rock. Just a force of expression. Also, if you want to get started, just visit the pickaxemaster.io. On the top bar, you have like all the links to join all our socials, which either be Discord, X, you name it, you've got all in there. So it's very easy just to get your foot into all of our branches, let's say. And from there, just try to meet people, ask questions, play the game, get involved, and we're pretty inviting and welcoming. And yeah, that would be about it. Just join in, let's chat, let's have some fun, let's play some games together.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. I agree that this community is very inviting and a lot of fun. So if you are looking for a gaming community, maybe you've explored the sandbox a little bit, but you just don't know where you're going to find yourself or what exactly you want to be doing. This is a great community to consider joining and getting to know some great friends. I think you'd be surprised how many friends you can make just joining a gaming community like this. So highly recommend the SandFam in general, but highly recommend the Pickaxe Master community. There's a lot of great peeps in there, and not only are they going to show you the ropes as far as the Pickaxe Master goes, but a lot of them also know a lot of other games that you may also enjoy playing with them. So great community to join and help. I envision the Pickaxe Master community as one of the leading like onboarding communities in the sandbox. I feel like getting people like there's definitely like I have definitely a lot of different communities in mind, but there needs to be those like staple communities inside of the sandbox that people get introduced to first, and then from there they can find their way. And maybe that's not where they stay, but that's like their entry point, and it's welcoming, and it allows them to really figure out what's going on here and to find their fit and where they truly belong. So
I do want to add up something to that, which is I think that when you mentioned the Pickaxe Master community, I think it's a very shared community of everyone that's also here that also shows up in a lot of streams. So I think it's like you would see Discord, you would see X, and also Twitch as a platform with its own set of users and members that we would see they come and join all the same streams, right? So I would call them like some of the best ambassadors that the sandbox can have, and they would help out like, hey, you like these type of games, so you should visit that and that, because they're very knowledgeable. They really know what's happening on the sandbox. They know the teams, they know the games, they know how to play all these games and explain how to join these games. So I think that these particular community that joins and comes to the Twitch streams, they're the best ambassadors, like more than like the Pickaxe Master community. And as I think it's we're still very small to just be like, yeah, that's the Pickaxe Master community. It's just one SandFam community, I would say. Maybe if we go mobile and it's like 1,000 times bigger, then maybe we can get to see like, okay, there's that and that, and they feel very different. They have different vibes. They have different people on it. But at this point, I think it's very common space.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that.
For sure. I get what you're saying there, and that is very true. And like you said, we're still quite small in comparative to most gaming ecosystems out there. So it's all a community driven effort, and you guys really do make this journey for all of the developers and players as well a lot more enjoyable. So keep being you and showing up, everyone, all the Sand fam. You guys are awesome, and it really does keep us going and doing what we do. So with that, I still didn't see any questions going on, so that must mean we did a really good job of covering everything. So with that, I think we will just wrap things up here. I'm going to hold the secret word up on screen one more time: squat mining. If you haven't filled out the form yet, go ahead and fill out that form, !form in the chat. If you're catching the replay, you can do that inside of my Discord. Discord link is in my bio wherever you're watching the replay. So use that secret word, squat mining, and that is all I have. If you don't have anything else to say, we'll wrap it up there, Bruno. But appreciate you, and shout out to all of the people tuning in live. And if you're catching the replay, shout out to you as well.
Yeah, I'll just add up. Thank you so much, Crafter, for hosting this. Thank you so much for inviting me. I think that these shows like this, just to bring up what is culture, the sandbox culture, like every gaming environment, like every ecosystem and every environment, it needs to create culture. I think programs like this that you invite myself and other creators around the sandbox, it just provides a more in-person contact, because when I'm streaming, I'm always talking about the Pickaxe Master, but in that sort of sense of format. And here I get to talk different things with you. Right. And like when I say me, and I have probably everyone else you invite to this show as well. So thank you so much for doing this. I think they're very important for the culture. They're very important for the community, and I am blessed to be here. So thank you so much for the invite.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you for being easy to have a conversation with. I love just being able to sit down. I mean, I say that, but most everyone I have on is actually quite easy to have conversations with, probably because we all love the same thing and we're all excited about the same thing. But you're always a great guest, so I always love having you come on and chat about what you guys got going on. But with that, thank you, chat, for being here. Thank you, Bruno, for tuning in and giving us your knowledge and having an open conversation about everything that's going on. Like you said, I think that's a great opportunity, and something that is needed to kind of like push the culture forward is having these open, longer form conversations that we hear and talk about different things that I mean, I have no idea usually going into a conversation what we're going to talk about, and it seems to work. So I keep doing it that way. But yeah, like you never know what conversations will come up when you just sit down with a friend and start talking. So that's why I do it, and that's kind of the format that I like to have. So it seems to be working. But appreciate all of y'all for being here, and we will catch you guys on the next stream, whenever that is. It'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So exploring the metaverse, it's gonna be fungi Fridays. We're gonna be playing some fungi fam. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, and have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all around the metaverse. Bye.
Cheers.
Boom.
Damon told me fortune favors the brave, and I lost all my fucking money.